human beings are the same, regardless of, where they are in socioeconomic, political status or whatever they. If you go to the humanity of a person, it's all the same.
Yeah.
So I'm big on tapping into that humanity and just giving everyone the dignity that they deserve as a person. Once you do that, once you feel seen and heard, then it changes the world. And, I'll tell you that story as I'm going into the States. That's what I find.
Yeah. I'm
like, the people who appreciated me as a nobody, I really appreciated that. So that's the same thing I give back right now.
All right, stand by. All right, Alex, part 1, take 1.
You never truly know people until you take the time out to get to know people. City ambassadors Niaje, city ambassadors what's up, city ambassadors Kunjani, city ambassadors Habari, city ambassadors Bonjour. A good what's up to each and every single one of you watching from wherever it is that you are watching in the world. Why even lie? I'm super excited about today's shoot. Yani, my insides are, I don't even have the words to explain what's happening inside, because today's CTA is special. I say this about every CTA, and I don't lie. As you can clearly see from the past CTAs, every single time when I sit down here and I say this with this excitement, the CTAs have been of such value. In my life, I've got different pillars, and I say I've got 3 main pillars: family, I've got music and entertainment, and I've got digital. Today's CTA, is something special because it touches the core of who I am. And for those of you who don't know, one of the things that I love is the digital space. I am obsessed with it. I've been gifted in it, and I have been in it since 2001. But today I meet an authority within that space. Let me say this: never before has somebody flown into the country to do a CTA. So this CTA, the amount of excitement it invokes in me is beyond, because this person has flown in all the way from the US of A, doing amazing things, moving and shaking within that world, actually globally shaking and impacting the world in the different industries and spaces that he operates. This CTA is a must watch. A lot of the times, we bring people on CTA who are well known to the world. A lot of the times we bring people who are not known to the public, but are impacting, moving and shaking and affecting the whole world. This is one of those CTAs that you need and must watch. Let me say this: CTA, we've got 3 different kinds of pillars. We've got class in session, we've got the playhouse, we've also got the diaspora series. Why I love the diaspora series: it has always been my love and intention to connect those who are away to home, and to connect those who are home with those who are moving and shaking and impacting from across the world. So to have somebody fly all the way into this country so that they can share their story, this is a CTA that you must watch. And you can see the stuff on my left. We'll be talking about that a bit later. But Yani, for today, I am super excited. As usual, I don't like introducing people by their titles. I let them sit down and tell their story, and through their storytelling, it begins to unveil who they are, not just to Kenya, not just to Africa, but to the rest of the world. So, by the way, can you see the way I've gotten my hair, my makeup did today? A big shout out to Kimberly Njao for coming through on the makeup. Ladies and gentlemen, none other than my camera extraordinaire personnel with me, Wamai and Aizo. Put your hands together and apart and together many times for none other than Alex Gacheche.
That's awesome. That's nice. That's nice. You see, that's the enthusiasm we love about Africa. We're raw. We are talented. We're going in. You know, and that's different. The enthusiasm in the West is sometimes a little tapered. So, thank you very much. It's great to be here. You know, I'm a technology enthusiast first, and I believe technology is going to change the world, and that's why I'm here.
Again, I've not done justice in my intro. I've left out a lot of things intentionally because I want the CTA to unveil the person. I don't want you to switch off just because you've had something. No, 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 no. Trust me. This is going to be worth your watch. Get your pen and pad out. This one is for taking notes. This one is going to be value on top of value. I can do more intros, but let's jump into the story.
Yes.
Alex.
Yes.
First and foremost, where have you flown in from? Welcome, welcome home.
Yes, yes. Feels good to be home. I just had Kenyan sausages.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's one of the unique things that you always miss about home. So flying in from Washington, D.C., that's where the family is. But I do back and forth with San Francisco, Silicon Valley. I work for Meta.
Ah.
Yes.
You've let it out the bag, but it's okay.
Yes.
I met Alex. Can I just tell guys how I met you?
Yeah.
This is incredible, and this is the power of CTA. I say part of the value that CTA brings into my life is connections. The amount of people I've been able to meet because of this platform blows my mind. So I interviewed a lady called Kendi Ntwiga, my girl, my sister Kendi, who's become one of my closest pals. Imagine, because of this platform.
Yeah.
And through that, Alex gets to watch the CTA.
Yes.
And he's wondering, who is this Kenyan who works for Meta Global that I've never met?
That grew up in Embu.
That grew up in Embu.
Yes.
You also work for Meta, not Meta Global.
Yes.
Okay, let's just lay it out the back. Tell us a little bit about what you do, then we'll come.
So I head internal audit, specifically the area that audits technology, cybersecurity, as well as emerging tech. So the emerging tech that you're seeing on the table, that's what my team actually audits in terms of privacy, security, integrity, and all that good stuff. Spent, I don't know, do you...
No, we'll get to it. Actually,
yes.
I'll bring it back.
Yes.
I'll bring it back. So from that connection, Kendi actually gets to meet you.
Yes.
So you guys, even though you work for the same company, you had never met.
Yes. We had never met before. So actually my wife says, hey, there's a girl from your digs, Embu, that was on CTA. Embu, watch her. So I watched the whole thing marathon, couple hours of that. And I was like, she was talking my story. And immediately after I ping her on the internal network and I was like, hey, can we talk about this? Then she was coming to the corporate office. That's where I was.
In San Francisco.
In San Francisco. So we ended up spending 2-3 days together. And she was like, you got to tell your story. You got to make the connection back to Africa. So that's why I'm here.
And another thing that I just want to say, which I find so powerful, because I give the statistics to people, but it's different when I hear it. So had you watched CTA before this?
Yes. I'd watched Ted Josiah. I'd watched Jimmy Gathu. I watched a couple guys.
So you are my statistics when I say people in America are watching.
Yes.
It is actually true that they are watching.
Yes, we are watching this. Yes.
Okay.
I think there are more diaspora people watching. I don't know. I don't want to mess up on the numbers here locally. But we watch this because it reminds us of where we're coming from. And it tells us a story, a unique view that we hadn't seen before.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Martha Karua. I didn't know her storyline. So I know so much about her now. Like, which is very different from what we're used to.
I've begun to value views. I don't care whether that view is 7 million or 70, because this is one view.
Yes.
You are an example of a view, and I try and teach people, and we're going to have the digital conversation within your story, and that's why I'm saying I'm so excited about this. But it is powerful to see what a view is. This is a view.
Yes.
You get what I mean?
Yes.
So, and I say that to people who are in the digital space, don't dharau your views just based on the amount of numbers as comparison, because look at the impact and look at the connections that view is. It's a human.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Enough of that. Let's shed the titles again and let's begin this from the very beginning.
Okay.
I can call you Alex?
Yes. Go ahead.
Okay. Alex, the first and only question that I have on this platform is, when were you born?
So I was born in 1977. I was born in Nyeri Hospital. My parents at that point worked in Othaya. That's Kibaki's Othaya. Back in 77, April 10th to be specific. Anything else about that?
Yeah, I like. Okay. So tell me a little bit about your family structure. Are you the firstborn? How many, do you have siblings?
Yes. So dad, mom, 3 boys. So my oldest was born 72, 77, 81.
Oh, nice.
The last one. So my oldest is back in Embu. He went to the States a couple of years and he came back. Then that's me and my little brother who lives in St. Louis, Missouri, who works for Toyota. Yes.
Okay, so At this time when you're born in Embu, I mean in Nyeri,
Yes.
are you living in Nyeri at that time?
Yes. So I was born in Nyeri. Then my dad got a job in Kieni Hospital as a hospital secretary. So we lived there for a couple of years, and then that's when we transitioned into Embu town. He started doing hardware business.
Okay, let's talk about this time in Nyeri. Do you even remember anything of it? Or
I don't remember anything at that point. I think my earliest memory of Nyeri was when we would go for Christmas and we'd stay in a place called Green Hills Hotel.
Green Hotel, I know it.
Yes.
I went to school in Nyeri, so I have the memories of going to Green Hills when there'd be visiting day. Green Hills and Outspan.
Yes, yeah. We'll do Outspans and we'll do Green Hills.
So how long are you in Nyeri?
So I'm in Nyeri for about 2 years.
Okay, that's short.
After I was born.
Okay.
And then we moved to Kieni. I don't remember anything about Kieni much. I remember when I got hurt over here. You know, there was a pavement and someone was cutting grass. I remember that. And I was kind of like running. Then all of a sudden I hit the pavement, fell and cut my head. And I remember the workers carrying me to the theater to get stitched up. So, and my dad was like, he heard about it like at the end of the day. He's like, oh, he was stitched up. So that's the power of a small town. Everyone knew each other. We all connected with each other. It was really nice.
Okay. Born in Nyeri, grew up in Nyeri for about 3 years.
Yes.
So of course your memories of that is limited.
Yes.
And then you moved to Kieni.
Yes.
Which is in Embu.
Yes.
Okay. Tell me then, let me hear about your parents. Tell me a little bit about your mom. Tell me a little bit about your dad.
So my mom is a nurse, the smartest woman I've ever met. She's really hardworking. I think my hard work and ethic comes from her. My dad is also super hardworking. He's one of those guys who never dies. Business goes down, he tries something else, So dad, more of administrator, hustler. He does a lot of different things in business. My mom was a nurse. She started out in nursing, and then she ended up doing hardware. She still does hardware at this point.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay, so you guys transitioned to Kieni.
Yes.
I'm with you. So what I like doing on the story is I like painting a picture. Once I see the picture and any missing puzzle, I then ask the question according to that.
Yes.
So I've understood this Nyeri aspect. I can see you transitioning to Kieni.
Yes.
Let's tell me a little bit about this time in Kieni, what you remember. Did you spend a lot of years there?
So about 3 years in Nyeri. So what happened in Nyeri, in Kieni, what happened in Kieni, my dad was the first black hospital administrator. At that point, independence happened in 1963. Then around 70-something, the nurses who were running the show ended up going to Rhodesia, which is Zimbabwe. So my dad was the first trained hospital administrator that was brought in by the government to put everything in order.
Wow.
So he was there on a transition basis. And that's why, he brought in a lot of, there were also Wazungus who were also part of the staff. So I remember from pictures, there are a couple of pictures actually that I took when we were having birthdays. We had some missionaries who are our neighbors and stuff.
So do you start going then to school in Kieni?
No, I started my class 1 in Embu.
Aha.
Yes.
Okay. Kieni is in?
It's in Embu.
It's also in Embu,
it's
but
in
a different place.
Yes, it's a little further out. I forget how long. Maybe about 45 minutes away from Embu town. It's a missionary area, and there's a school. There's a girls' school, the famous Kieni Girls. There's another primary boarding school, and then there's a hospital.
Okay.
It's very similar to Tomotomo. Yes, which is where my dad is originally from. Gacheche is from.
Yeah.
Yes.
At this time, your accent isn't the way it is. Eh? It is huko.
Water. You don't realize that you actually have an accent.
Yeah.
Because when you go to the States and when you go to the West, what happens is that people are saying, I can't hear what you say. You say water. What did you say again? So you get used to talking slightly different.
Yeah. But I always wonder, how come this doesn't happen when guys go to India?
That's interesting. That's interesting. I've never thought about that actually. I think there's a little bit of an Indian accent that people pick up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe saying only at the end of a sentence.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
And also. Just okay. Let's get back to your story. This is going to be a fun city. So from Kieni, you
Yes.
then transition and move to Embu town.
Yes.
And in Kieni, you don't go to school.
I don't go to school.
Okay.
I don't
okay.
go to school.
So you're young.
Yeah, I'm young, yeah.
You now go to, now let's transition and go to Embu. And this time, it sounds like it's only you and your older brother.
Yes, me and my older brother at that point,
Okay.
yes. So we moved to Embu, and my dad, still hospital secretary, he moves into Embu District Hospital as a hospital secretary. But there were many of them. At that point, he opted to do business. He was like, you know what, we're too many of us in the playing field. There's an opportunity for me to do business, especially in the hardware side of things. There were very many Waindis who were in the town doing that. So he was the first black person to do hardware business in Embu.
Nice.
Yes, that was 82, 83.
Okay.
At that point, my brother was born.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so, and I'm sure at this time you definitely start going to school.
Yes. I went to St. Michael Primary School.
It sounds like it was a legend.
Yes, yes. That's where everyone went to. So there were no private schools. So most of the people went to St. Michael. You either went to St. Michael, Embu Urban, or Embu County. Embu Urban was an urban school. So most of the kids who lived in the city, in Tao. Embu County was a little bit further out. It was in a place called Majengo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
the most favorable one was St. Michael, which was also backed by Catholic sisters,
wow.
by the Catholic Church, which I was an altar boy.
Now when you enter primary.
Yes.
Okay. So okay, let's talk about school.
Yes.
First of all, let me just get this correct. You're living in Embu town.
Yes. Yes. We're living in the hospital quarters in Embu, which is a little, because my mom was a nurse at that point.
Yes.
My mom was doing MCH, so maternity, child healthcare. So something to do with family planning.
Yes.
That's why we are all spaced out, 72, 77, 81. That explains it. So she was doing that. So we lived in the hospital quarters.
Nice.
Yes. Hospital quarters, interesting enough, they were varied. So there was like nurses this level lived here, nurses this level lived here, nurses lived, the other level lived here.
Doctors.
Yes. So we all aspired to live in the nicer houses. But based on my mom's level, we never lived in that.
So, but how was that community then?
It was good, very empowering. They all knew each other. You know, they were all working together. So when we came home, we all knew each other in terms of, you know, we have to get to know each other. This is a new nurse who's come into the ward. This is a different nurse that was coming. So it was a community that people all were forced to know each other.
So then that means there must have been many kids in
Yes.
that, I mean, like many people to play with.
Yes, yes, a whole lot of kids to play with.
Okay.
And also people coming into the community. There was a group of people who would get transferred maybe after a couple of years somewhere else. There would be an influx of new kids coming in.
Okay.
But it was awesome.
Nice.
Best thing ever.
Hey, sounds
It's one of those places where you just have the normal life. It's like the street light down the street, maybe mevunjika. Then when it comes on, you guys have to get back into your house. You know, we lived on flats, and then all of a sudden we hear someone is being beaten up on this other side. So it was like someone is cooking food, sijui baba nani anafanya nini, anapiga nani. It was a community that people lived in.
I love it.
Yes.
Okay, let me hear then now about your school life. By the way, you're very articulate and you really explain well. Like you constantly paint the picture. I'm not struggling to see the environment and the surrounding in which you're living in. Yeah. So let's hear about St. Michael's.
St. Michael was one of the premier schools that everyone wanted to go to. It's a small town. Everyone wanted to go to St. Michael. It was right next to the hospital, right next to church, Catholic church. We didn't have private school. I think now they have a couple private schools that people go to. It was nice. It was about 4 streams every class. So class 1, I think it was tiger, leopard, cheetah, and something else. Yeah, but it was awesome. So most of the kids were nurses' kids and doctors' kids. There were also a little bit of the Shahs and the Patels who lived in town. So it became a place where, you know, your Gacheche was my friend, you know, who was, you know, the parents were in business. You also had a lot of people from Meru who were nurses. Somehow it happened to be one of the premier things that people were doing, especially from Meru district in terms of nursing.
Were you a clever kid?
I was very talkative. I remember class 1, actually, maybe in the first semester, I had to bring my dad.
Class 1?
I was bothering other kids. Apparently, you know, tunapatiwa homework, and I would go in and start tapping other kids, you know. So I've always been a little distracted.
Tapping them to say, don't do homework?
Well, just to chase it.
Oh, okay.
Let's play, you know. So I was very playful.
Okay.
I was very playful, but also very smart. Yeah, my dad keeps talking about I would sleep with a small pencil. He tells this story up to, he was telling my kids the same thing. Small pencil, I would sharpen it in Aisha, and I would hold it like this at night. So I started tuition because of a distraction. I started tuition when I was in class 1.
Yeah.
Not because I was dumb.
Yes.
Just because so I can be able to focus.
I'm beginning to learn, and maybe this wasn't there back in the day, but that distraction can sometimes be a strength in something that is fighting the system, and not a negative thing.
Yes.
It's just that this system is trying, like I'm a creative.
Yes.
The system really didn't work for me with the kind of cramming that was involved.
Yes.
So for you, you know, that tapping already sounds like, were you good in other things, sports, playing music, whatever it may be?
I wasn't as good. I was always a very small kid as well. So up to actually Form 4, I was maybe 5'4" height.
Wow.
So I was a really small guy. So I feel like when you take a picture in school,
Yeah.
I was always the guy who was pushed to the front.
Thank God for MacD's.
Yes, 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 yes. So I grew now, I'm like 6 foot tall. If people see me, they're like, hey, Gacheche, you've changed. Your same face, but you've changed a lot. So I wasn't as good, but I was creative. I was always thinking of a better way of doing things. I remember actually in class 1, the Queen of England came. You know, she came in, and we all had to kind of like go to the side of a road, and there were people who were singing for her.
The Queen of England?
Yes. The Queen of England. You remember it was a former British colony.
Yes.
Kenya was.
Yes.
So at some point, 1980.
Kenya still is, but story for another day.
So Queen of England came in, and they were looking for people who are creative enough to have shairis, and you know. So I was always looking forward to can I be someone unique that can be able to do that shairi, that poetry? Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay. So, explain more about the school, class 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way primary. Just say, tell me more a little bit about primary.
So class 1, 2, 3, and 4 I did in in St. Michael. Amazing experience. Small town, we all knew each other somehow. It was really, really nurturing. There was no distraction. You just focus on school. Class 5, 6, 7, and 8, I went to Sawa Academy.
Why did you transition?
So at that point, everyone was kind of transitioning into boarding school. It was a cool thing to do. Plus, our parents were very distracted with business. So what they wanted you to do is to go to a prep school so that you can go into a nice high school.
Yes.
Yes. So you'll hear the story. I ended up in Patch. And I think in our class, which was 57 people who graduated at the same time, maybe about 40 of them went to national schools.
Wow.
So it was one of those places where 57 people graduated from primary school, 40 of them went to national school. It was one of those.
And for real, education was the ticket?
It was a ticket. There was nothing else. It wasn't sports. It wasn't creative. It was just shule. Focus on school and you're going to be able to make it.
Okay, before we enter Sawa, and I love the explanation of the transition to Sawa, what's your relationship with your dad like? These early years.
He was my biggest fan.
Wow.
He believed in what I was bringing to the table. Every time I was doing really well in school, I'd run to him and show it to him. He had a different level of appreciation for it. My mom is smart and she's hardworking. She's got the work ethic. But the appreciation is slightly different. So my dad's sister went to uni. So he had an affiliation to education a little bit more. So because I was showing a lot of that potential, he was a really good, big fan of mine.
Wow.
Yes.
Outside of the education perspective, what was he like as a father at that time?
He's a businessman first. So most of the time he was transacting. So the way it is in our household is that you go back home in the evening and you talk about the opportunities that you guys, how many cement bags did you sell? You know, how many pipes did you sell? These are the missed opportunities. These are the things that we're going to do tomorrow. These are the things that we're going to do next week or next month. These are the biashara that we've had. So we would have a lot of those conversations back home.
What?
Yes.
So your dad was involving you in the workings of the business?
Yes.
So he was the chit-chat at home.
Yes.
Is about, yo, man, today I sold 3 bags of cement.
Oh, yes. You should have sold. The person who came over there and you missed that opportunity, you shouldn't have missed that opportunity.
So who is he telling this to?
So he's talking to all of us. It's like, Alex, I saw you over there and you were not doing this.
Okay,
you should have done this.
You were going to the workplace with your dad.
Yes.
So it's not that you come home from school and you're chilling.
Yes, yes. So we all had to go to the shop. There was nothing at home. So we woke up in the morning, especially when we've closed school, we would go to the shop. Maybe for 2-3 hours, I'd go for tuition, then get back to the shop. But that was the main event. It was about business.
Dude,
yes.
Okay, I love
yes.
this. So what are you doing at the shop? And how early do you start going to the shop?
As early as class 2, 3. It's always been the same. Even now, if I go back to Embu, my mom is going to put me at the shop. I took my kids, and that's the same thing. She was like, hey, come sell. Yeah, to the shop. That's it. Because that's a centerpiece of what we do.
Okay.
Yes.
Hey, dude, thank God I interjected. See why I tell you guys interjecting is good.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this thing. So what are you learning? What are you seeing? You know, you're talking about this like it is norm.
Yes.
But I've come to realize that this thing that you're talking about now, later on will affect how you operate and think.
Yes, yes.
So what's that environment like, and what's it doing for you, and what kind of conversations are you having with your pops?
Yes. I'm learning the power of networking. I'm learning the power of being good to the person in front of you, because you never know what they're going to bring to you.
So where are you? What are you doing?
Yeah, so I'm at the shop at the front. Hey, go get this, and I would take back the workers, and we'd go pick up bags of cement, and then we'd bring back to the shop. But what an interesting thing about it is that when someone walks into the shop, you can't judge them. They probably have a stack of money in there. So what you do, you became really nice to the person in front of you, because you never knew what they were bringing to you.
Alex, you learned this at class 2,
yes.
3, 4.
Yes, yes. All my life, that's what I've learned. And one of the things that I live by is find something great in everyone that you meet, because you never know. Everyone has a unique story.
We can end CTA here. Done. I'm serious.
Yeah.
First of all, I just met Alex. This is the first time we are physically meeting.
Yeah.
When you came to Hemingway's, you went to a different place. So I went to get you from the Uber, and I saw the way you were interacting with the Uber driver. It's like you're already pals. You're already having a conversation. In fact, when I've just met you, the first thing is you're telling me, is it called Njoroge? Yes. Or you're already telling me about him, and you're telling me this, that, the other.
Yes.
This is just from the drive till there.
Yes, yes. It's a power of connecting with people. Human beings are the same, regardless of where they are in socioeconomic, political status, or whatever they. If you go to the humanity of a person, it's all the same.
Yeah.
So I'm big on tapping into that humanity and just giving everyone the dignity that they deserve as a person. Once you do that, once you feel seen and heard, then it changes the world. And, I'll tell you that story as I'm going into the States. That's what I find.
Yeah.
I'm like, the people who appreciated me as a nobody, I really appreciated that. So that's the same thing I give back right now.
Wow.
Yes.
That is, man.
But it starts early. It starts when I was learning that from my parents. Because the guy who walked into the shop, you never knew. He was a primary school headmaster for a small school in the middle of nowhere. He had a stash of money, or he had a list of things to buy. Then it ends up becoming, that's a person who's going to give you the business that you need.
And was your dad rewarding you for your work?
Yes, yes. So for many years, we lived a good life. We lived a really good life. So we knew Christmas would go to Green Hills for like a week. We knew we had, there's a place called Loshi River Lodge. There was a place called Kamburu Country Club. So we had membership to all of that.
Nice.
So we lived well. So you knew if you make money from the business, it's all going to translate into a better life. Okay, so I had a bicycle. I had everything that I needed when I was young.
So your dad wasn't per se paying you, giving you a wage for that, but then he was showing the profits as a family, we benefit from that.
Yes, yes. Plus, at that point, I was going to Sawasawa, which was one of the most expensive schools. Well, apart from a group of schools.
Jump.
So I think that time, per semester, per term, it was 5,000 in 1987.
Yeah.
And I remember my dad paying for me and my older brother, it was 10,000. He wrote a check for both of us. So you knew when the money was coming in, it was going somewhere.
What other lessons did you learn from being at this, experiencing your first experience of entrepreneurship?
Yes, being present and making the connection. You never know. You could talk to this person, and this is a person who talked to this other person, and all of a sudden there's a network of connection that you happen. And intentionality of the person who's in front of you and making the connection right. I never know. Candy was on here. A week after, I was meeting with her in San Fran, in the office. And she was like, hey, you got to go on CTA as well. And making that connection. You and I connected on Zoom a couple of times, and it was a bond instantaneously. So making the connection every instance you can be able to do. And it's not in a way that you're trying to get something from someone.
It's not transactional.
It's not transactional. It's just genuine.
You know,
I'm interested in this person as a person.
I get a lot of requests for people to come to CTA. I'm not going to lie to you. And I don't say no, I just say maybe not now. You get?
Yeah.
I don't believe in saying no. I just believe that maybe it's not the right time. With you, there is a way we had a conversation about AI, about the impact of technology in the world, the opportunities in Kenya, that I was just like, this guy has to come here. And not come here because I believe there's value you are going to give the audience. We've just started speaking, and automatically I can feel the oozing of value coming, not even from a technological perspective.
Yes.
It wasn't transactional.
Yes, yes. And that's the most important thing. I think when you make it transactional, I know this person, or I'll get something from this person, then it changes the profile completely. But just connecting with people as is, you never know. The guy in Njoroge, the Uber driver, he went home, happy. You never know what kind of connection he's going to make with other humanity, other folks, along the way. Yeah. So if I'm good to you, then you're good to someone else, and good to someone else. So it passes on.
Powerful. Sawa.
And it's interesting because that comes back to me when I go to the States, when I'm no one. Again, when you go to the States, you come in, you're brand new, define yourself. I can't say I was in Patch. That doesn't matter. What is Patch? I was like, I was a Prince of Wales School, okay? So what? How does that add value to that person? Oh, I went to university in Nairobi. So what? That doesn't change anything. They look at the list, they see, oh, you guys are 187. Harvard is up here.
Oh my God. Oh, okay, we'll get there, but I love the teasing.
Yeah.
This is powerful, man. This is such a powerful conversation. You're going to give value to so many people, and you already are. Thank you so much for coming.
Yes.
Sawasawa.
Yes.
So you transitioned to Sawasawa.
Yes.
Is it called Sawasawa Academy?
It's Sawasawa Academy. Okay. Yes. So it was
one of the best schools in Embu at the time.
It's in Meru.
Meru.
Yes.
Meru.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.